I work at Webster University as an adjunct professor in the computer science department. I grew up on a little rocky farm in southwest Missouri. It was a farm without running water or electricity or any of those nice things. My father always had food on the table. He was not a very well-educated man, but he knew how to manage his money. He was a very frugal man in terms of anything that was frivolous, but in terms of anything that was educational, the money seemed to be there. I remember that when I had to go in debate tournaments in high school, we had to pay our own way, and it was like $20, and the $20 bill was always there. And in later life, I found out that was 1 week's milk check. Yeah, it was at first a little bit of a challenge, because most of the young people that were debating me from the bigger places had more background than I did. Their parents were professional people; they had better vocabularies and so on. But it didn't take me about a year to catch up. At the Pie Cap National Tournament in Kalamazoo, Michigan one year, I was the only one to rate, and I took a superior in public discussion. And that was the only one that I can remember very favorably, and I think probably the highest that I attained at the national level. I am most proud actually of the feedback I've gotten from some students about how I helped them. That's been more important than it. That's why I filed away all my speech honors, because I'm not the type of person to put those up on the wall or something. But I didn't file away those letters that I got from students telling how I had helped them. I've got several of those, and I treasure those a lot. I was at the school almost every evening, and I just threw them in and let them swim. I entered students in all kinds of categories. We had a superintendent at a small country school that was very much for speech and debate, and he supported me in it, and we got to go to a lot of different tournaments. And when we did the county tournament, the other schools had not gone to all those different tournaments, and we swept it. We had more sweepstakes points than all the other schools put together. I got one letter from a student who said, "You didn't know what you did for me. I was skipping your class, hanging out in the study hall. You went down and you got me. And instead of taking me to the office and disciplining me, you sat down and said, 'Can't we work out something?' And we worked out a schedule whereby he would report to me instead of taking the test, and I would test him orally. He got a harder test orally than the others got otherwise, but he said that started me on a career. And he said, I've been in counseling and schoolwork ever since, and it turned me around." Because of what it represents. It represents a skill that everybody should really have, the ability to speak in public, the ability to articulate, and so on. That's what my father particularly liked. He was always felt inferior about his own lack of education, and he said, if you can talk in public, you'll be able to do a lot of things. You have to be articulate, and you have to be able to analyze argument to see where this argument doesn't fit. I won one debate by just picking out inconsistencies in the opposite team. One would say another one and something else a little bit different, and it could go unnoticed, but I wrote it down, handed it to my colleague, and he hit them on it, and they lost the debate over that because of the logical inconsistencies in what they were doing. It's the use of jargon in debate. The John Dewey principles that he set up are intended for debate analysis, not for use during debate. One's supposed to be using things like harms and that sort of thing as jargon during the debate. The other thing is the speed that they're speaking at. It does not seem to accomplish anything. They go as fast as they can, and they also argue in outline, point A, point B, point C. That's not natural. We don't do that in normal life. And I think that what has happened is the debate has evolved into a game rather than into something. We were supposed to speak to the judge. We were supposed to convince that judge, as if that judge were a jury or an audience of hundreds or whatever, that our case was the correct case.